Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Tell the tackle, take the defensive end. If he's over him, if he's not, you drive down the first man who is inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one shows. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. So look at this play. What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. I'm joined alongside Jacob from the Packernet Fantasy Podcast. We got Tim live in Green Bay. Fellas, how was your day? Let's start with you, Jacob. What was your day like today, man? A nice little lazy Sunday afternoon, or did you have to work?
No, dude, I've had to work. This has been a kind of a hell week. It's been 6 weddings in 3 days. And today and then tomorrow we have a lot of catering to do all day, but it was Packers weekend, man. So I can't complain. I get to
it always makes it a little more tolerable, doesn't it?
Yeah, we got PFF grades to talk about. We're good, man.
Ready to roll. Tim, how was your day, bud?
Great, man. Great. I didn't have 6 weddings to go to like Jacob, but hey, Jacob, that's okay. That must mean love is in the air.
Oh, I see what you did there. That
was pretty good.
All right.
No, I had a good day, boys. I got a little yard work done, cut the grass. I took a break from the daddy sodas, had a Coca-Cola and got some yard work done today. So feeling good.
Well, I picked up where you left off, man. I got in the pool today and I got a couple Sam Adams Oktoberfest deep. And next thing I know, I'm being woke up by a thunderstorm. I was asleep in a float and didn't realize it. Running in the house where I got shocked, but that's the way it goes. Let's go to the chat here real quick. We got Kevin in the house. What's up, Kevin? Glad you can make it live, man. Richard in the house. Eric, it's good to see you back in here, buddy. I know you guys have been battling. I believe it was some storms, had some stuff pass through. Glad to see you in here, man. I'm guessing things are getting a little bit better. Appreciate you dropping by. Let's see Brad in the chat. We got Dakota. We got SoPro. We got a full house, fellas. We got a full house. M. Smitty back and Simon in the house. All right, let's do this. Let's kind of dive into some of the PFF grades. Y'all good with that, fellas? You want to start right there?
Just do it.
All right, let's go offense first. All right. You guys should be able to see this on the screen. Here were the PFF grades from yesterday's game. All right, against the Seahawks. Coming in first, tied for first, I should say. Is it Jadakiss or Jadakiss?
Yep.
Go ahead. You're the resident expert on name pronunciation there, Jacob. How do you say that?
Yes, that's true. It's Jadakiss Bonds.
Jadakiss. All right, got it. 79.6. We had Austin Allen with a 79.6. There's your boy. Alex Magoo with a 76.8. Jordan Love, 76.1. Zach Tom, 75.1. Josiah DeGuara. Definitely love seeing that, 73.1. Rasheed Walker, 72.0. Cody Crest, 69.3. John Runyon, 68.8. Patrick Taylor, 68.6. Sean Ryan, 68.0. Luke Musgrave, 64.5. Samori Torre, 64.5. Sean Clifford, 63.8. Nate McCrary, 63.1. We got Telford at 63.1. Elton had kind of a rough day. Of course, he didn't play very long, 62.8. Josh Myers still just can't put it together, 62.7. Malik Heath, according to the grade, is kind of down. And like we mentioned yesterday, I think he had 7 targets and 4 catches. I told you guys I hadn't had a chance to go back and kind of look at those specifically and see whose fault those incompletions were. PFF seems to think that he had a little bit less of a day than he had in the past. And, of course, Caleb Jones, a 59.6. What sticks out to you guys with those grades right off the bat, fellas?
I mean, I'll first off say that I think Jadakiss Bonds is a practice squad lock right now. The guy just seems like a super good dude. He just seems like a Packer. Big size, big frame. He can block. Seems like he can catch. So I think that he just kind of solidified himself on the practice squad. Austin Allen, big question mark. Isn't the guy like 6'8", if I'm not mistaken? I mean, he's just a freak of a man.
Yeah.
he did look like, I think it was one of the touchdowns that he had like a seal block or something like that. So I'm excited to see him perform. And I think that tight end 3 spot is, I don't know who else would be there. It looks to me as if Josiah DeGuara is going to be solidified as that fullback role, H-back role, I guess, whatever you'd call it. So to me, I saw most of the time when I've watched, I don't think it was Paul Brettel, but maybe it was Bill Huber put out a 53-man mock today, and they had us keeping 3 tight ends, but he only named 2 of them. And he said that the third was like a TBD. You know what I mean? Like, and Ryan talked about on his podcast how there's a few Fumagalli who, if you guys are Badger fans, he said that Troy is one maybe keep on your radar. There was another guy, was it Dan Arnold from the Eagles? And I believe he did get released today. So maybe Ryan's a little bit of a wizard and he's looking into his crystal ball and we end up signing one of those guys. So, that's just something to keep an eye out.
Sure
just
about that? You sure about
Sure.
that?
I'm just saying, it's nice to see that Magoo came in and had some decent, I think he almost had like a full quarter, which is probably not what he would have had if Clifford would have had that little bit of an elbow injury there. And then Jordan Love, 76.1. Clayton, you talked about how you could maybe pull some stuff up on the fly. What is his overall average now for the preseason? Are you able to find that by chance?
Jordan Love's on the preseason. I'll get right on it. Don't let me forget. I'll go back to it as soon as I finish talking about this. I just wanted to mention Austin Allen, your boy at tight end, run blocking grade, had 17 run blocking snaps, if I'm reading this correctly, 77.6 run blocking. That's pretty darn impressive. I'll go look that up right now, Jacob. You guys carry on.
Gotcha. And then Zach Tom at a 75.1, just great to see. And then again, Jordan Love, like we talked about, 76.1. Clinton's going to get us that average for the preseason. Rasheed Walker, so great to see him successfully continuing his really great preseason, that amazing year 2 jump that we're seeing from him. And then Cody Kress, John Runyon Jr., Patrick Taylor. I think him, correct me if I'm wrong, does it seem like Patrick Taylor is running back 3 if we keep 3? If not, do you think that both Manuel Wilson and him are practice squad locks?
I think Patrick Taylor's pretty much solidified himself as RB3.
You do.
Arguably, debatably, and again, we're not on the staff, so but I don't know. We're pretty much in agreement they're going to keep 3, right? We don't think they're going to carry more than 3.
I would definitely think they don't carry more than 3. I would be honestly a little bit surprised if they even keep more than 2, to be honest.
Right. So Emmanuel Wilson makes a great argument for himself, though. Practice squad candidate for sure. Almost like you said about Jadakiss Bonds, on the other side there as a receiver. Like, he came on super late. That was a guy who struggled early in camp. He's kind of caught fire, I would say, like we're talking the last 10 to 14 days here. And, so he's someone to keep an eye out for. That was awesome to see Magoo throw that bomb to him and him come up with that ball. 'Cause that was literally the play he had drop issues with during camp. So to see him come up with it in Lambeau in front of 74,000 people was phenomenal. So then that's something to watch for sure. But hey, we have to add the caveat every time we talk about Cody Kress. Green Bay Packers shareholder Cody Kress. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. He actually is a Packers shareholder. And now competing for a roster spot as well. So I think that's super cool, man. Talk about like a reason to want this guy on the team.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just to have a player owner on the Packers.
Right. So Jordan Love, Jacob, according to PFF, if these are updated throughout the entire National Football League this preseason, he ranks 8th with an 86.7 offensive grade. If you sort it by passing, let's see where he falls right here. He falls 20th at 77.9, still a great grade. And, of course, the running grade, he leads the entire National Football League in running grade from quarterbacks at an 87.3. Pretty impressive. Let's go to the phones real quick here. We got Carly on the line. Carly, can you hear us?
Oh, no. Carly's here?
Yeah, I am. I can hear you.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Just got done power washing a friend's deck this lovely day, and so I'm feeling good. A little bit sore, but feeling good.
I
Do
hear
you guys?
that. I was telling the guys I fell asleep in the pool earlier and about got eat up with a thunderstorm. It was scary. I got a couple couple Sam Adams in me, and the old man couldn't hack it. What's on your mind when it comes to the Packers? I know we've been chatting a little bit offline. It's good to have you on the show here live. What'd you think of the game? Let's start there. What'd you think of the game yesterday?
Well, this is where I am totally empathize with what Jake was talking about a few weeks ago, where I'm in the part of Western Wisconsin where it was not local to me. So the Vikings game was on, and I did not even get to see the Packers game because it was not on my local channels.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like
Can I,
Jake,
Carly?
insane.
Carly actually, so she's from, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to dox you or anything like that, but she's in Western Wisconsin, so she's like 20 minutes from where I am, and I'm right on the border. Carly just happened to randomly be at the skydive place, and that's where we met in person. And she saw me while I was at my literally pee my pants mode. Like, hey, are you Jacob from Packernet Podcast? And I'm like, yeah, just don't talk to me for a minute because I'm like,
give me a second.
She coached me through it pretty good, and I ended up making it out. So that's just crazy. Small world, Western Wisconsin. It's not that big. So and she's also, Carly, if I'm not mistaken, is in our PFP Extreme League, and I think we got the last by her brother. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to do my first fantasy football experience. I've been wanting to do it for years, but hadn't had a chance. But so this was perfect. I am super excited too because it's really fascinating how people evaluate players really differs if you're looking at it from a fantasy lens versus the actual how you contribute to the game. Because some of the most amazing contributions, like on defense, which I'm learning so much about and has been so cool to pay attention to, but yet because fantasy points, they don't rack up any points. So people that just do fantasy but don't actually watch the game are like, well, this player sucks or whatever. And it's like, no, you're just looking at it through the wrong lens. You have to really specify, are you talking real football or fantasy football?
We suck again.
No, that's a great point. That's really a great point. And that's why Ryan is such a hater of fantasy football. And it's like you said, Carly, you look at a player and he's like, well, he's so good at fantasy, which therefore means he's good at football, or he's a good football player, or he's going to help his team win. No, he just maybe literally is just notching up stats. And that's kind of it. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. What do you want to talk about, Carly? What do you got?
Well, I wondered, I did listen to some of the recaps of the game for the Seahawks, and I was wondering, I didn't hear were there any fumbled snaps?
Ooh.
I don't think there were any fumbled snaps to the best of my knowledge. Tim, you chime in here if you did see one. The one that stood out to me, though, I did a Chalk Talk episode this morning, and it was the Sean Clifford RPO bubble screen to Tucker Kraft. And he literally had to catch it off his left kneecap. And I'm like, all right, what center botched that? Because, Sean Clifford's in, you think it's backups. I'm almost positive it was Josh Myers that was in at center. So he just continues to struggle with that shotgun snap, which blows my mind because, it wasn't an issue for him in college. And he just continues to struggle. So, but to the best of my knowledge, Tim, do you remember any botched snaps other than, like I said, we had that low one there to Sean Clifford on that RPO bubble?
No, I don't. That was the one that stuck out to me. And what a terrible time to have that snap. I could see it was just a shotgun, drop back and rock and throw. But when you've got moving pieces like that, that was terrifying. I caught a bit of the Chalk Talk today when you were breaking that down. And when you super slow mode that, you just really appreciate the athleticism of Sean Clifford to just A, hang on to it, and B, get the playoff on an RPO of all plays. So thank God that didn't cost us drastically. But no, I was there. I don't remember anybody booing or anything. It's crazy. I don't think we had too many mistakes up there. I mean, we had mistakes on the line, but as far as the botch snaps, that was definitely an improvement from the week prior.
Yeah, and the thing that stood out to me about him handling that bad snap too was he corralled the ball and still was able to get his eyes up to look at his side adjustment and read the backer, read the end, to decide if he's going to throw the RPO or hand the ball. It was smooth, man. And a lot of people don't realize, I'm almost positive. I know he's 4 months older than Jordan Love, which is still mind boggling to me, but also he has taken a ton more snaps than Jordan Love in his football career, from college, obviously, and now being a rookie quarterback. So he's got a ton of experience. It's one of the reasons they liked him. There was a big joke, him coming out of college, that he was like 28 years old or something. You know what I mean? People are always joking, like, this guy's played, 7 years of college football. He better be ready. But, hey, I thought it was a good move. 5th-round pick. You get a guy who's pretty seasoned, right? It didn't make sense at the time because it seems to be a low ceiling. But you've got a guy who can come in and play backup. And we kind of called it all along, obviously, going into that quarterback camp. But I'm excited to have Sean Clifford. I know if for some reason Jordan goes down, I won't find myself going, well, if we don't have a chance to win, because Sean Clifford's shown that he can really step up when he's thrown into the fire for sure. Anything else you got, Carly? Anything at all? I'm excited to see you whoop up on these boys in that fantasy football league. I know that, man. I want you to smack them around for us for sure.
That'd be awesome. But speaking of Sean Clifford, did you guys see on the the media, the locker room after, I think it was, or whenever he found out officially that he was the backup for Jordan Love, did you guys see his reaction at all?
Oh yeah, because he found out in the locker room, didn't he? Am I thinking?
Yeah,
right?
he did. Yeah, on live TV in front of media. Yeah.
He kind of stared away from the camera a minute and was like you could see it hit him, right? Like, dang, I made it. It was a pretty cool moment. If you guys haven't seen it, you should be able to find it fairly easy. It's definitely on the Packers YouTube page, but it was an interview, right there at his locker. And yeah, that was a really cool moment. And that was one of the big things, him coming out of college, was, Jacob, they just constantly talked about how his teammates loved him. He was just a leader of that team. And for the people that say he can't play, whatever, it's a washed pick. He is the very reason that Will Levis had to transfer to Kentucky. Because Will Levis could not beat him out for that starting quarterback job. Now, what's that say about Levis? I know this. He was a first-round talent. He was taken with the first pick in the second round, if I remember correctly. So he had a first-round grade on him. I guarantee you that. So says a lot about Sean Clifford for sure. Jacob, you got anything else for Carly before we let her go? Oh, go ahead, Carly. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just want to say I might be totally wrong on this, but I saw him and I took it a little bit different than you did with his facial expression and body posture and everything. I actually was thinking that he had these kind of hopes of coming in here and being able to show Jordan Love up and beat him out for the starting place. Because he actually didn't, if you look back, he didn't actually seem all that thrilled. He seemed a little put off. And then he said, well, it doesn't make any difference. I always have wanted to, prepare like I'm going to be like I'm the starter and I'll still put in my best preparation, which is like awesome to hear. But if you think of it, wasn't he a 4-time like captain at his school? And this, like, he is used to being on top. And then to come in here and play as well as he has in this preseason, and then to be told in media that he was going to get the backup job, which is what we all expected. But I think maybe he had a little bit of naivete in that, thinking that he was going to have a chance to be a starter. Anyway, I thought he answered it really cool, but I thought it was just kind of a interesting facial expression from him. And I hope that he knows that they're doing him a favor. Like, I think a bunch of the rookies that end up starting, they end up crashing and burning because they're not supported and they don't have the time to learn the offense. So I think they're doing a good thing by him. I just don't know if he realizes it yet.
Got it. It's funny. I didn't look at it through that lens. I'm going to have to go back and watch it now, because the way I kind of took it was they kind of caught him off guard with the comment. But I didn't look at it through the lens like, oh, really? I'm competing for a starting job here. And that could have been the case. Very well could have been the case. But, Jake, if you got anything for Carly before we let her go, any questions?
That's actually a good point. And Sean has that dog in him. When you watch him talk, he is not it's a weird confidence. It's not a flashy, like a very, in your face kind of I'm better than you, but it's more of one of those like, keep talking, and I'm going to show you kind of confidence. And he, like, you watched it. I rewatched the game now like 3 or 4 times, not like fully, but through the, the YouTube clip mode. And I saw a couple scrambles. I got to watch the first, like I said, every single snap that Jordan Love played. I made sure I got to see that, but then I had to go back to work. And so I had to listen to it. You don't really get the full, we have great analysis, great broadcasters but they don't quite, you can't just watch the game and listen to the game and get the same experience. Sean Clifford, you saw him try to scramble out to the left, and he got tackled for like maybe a 2-yard loss or whatever. And you saw in his face, he just went angry. Like he went to death mode. Like you saw Laser Eyes again, where it's like he went into beast mode. And like Carly talked about, he just kind of has that. I feel like he has something inside of him where it's like, no, I'm not number 2. I'm never going to be number 2. I don't care where you put me. Even if you say I'm the backup, I'm the starter. And it's just a matter of time until I come to that fruition kind of thing. And so, yeah, I kind of agree. It seems, and to be honest, what could we hope for more in a backup quarterback than a guy that's so freaking hungry as a rookie? Like you talked about, a Penn State guy. We have somebody protecting his blind side in Rasheed Walker, who was with him for the bulk of his career there at Penn State. That's kind of cool to think about that. So there's just a lot of really cool small components about this team that is just freaking exciting. Like it's just, I've never been more excited. Usually I have like 1 or 2 storylines to follow. We have like 50 for this team.
Yeah.
I mean,
No doubt.
it's crazy. So
yeah. And
what
Sean
up,
Clifford, looking at it here at PFF, he's ranked 26th in the entire NFL with a 77.5 offensive grade. He had 60 dropbacks, and his completion percentage is 71.9. Let me see if I can sort that by completion percentage. Yeah, let's see where he falls here. 71.9. His completion percentage, he's 19th. And the people in front of him, half the stats, not even a quarter of the snaps, not even half the snaps, like an eighth of the, yeah. Like if you broke that down into say they had to have a minimum of 50 snaps, he's probably top 10 in completion percentage. That's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So, Carly, you got anything else before we let you go?
No, I'm just real excited for the season, and I'm thankful for all the content and teaching that you guys have done that have given me just, it's like learning to speak another language. It's like now I look at the game and I see things I never saw before. I know you, Jacob, were talking about that take your eye off the ball. I've actually been reading it as well. I've been reading like the 2.0 version now because it's updated for 2015. So it's got like the mobile quarterbacks. It's about 100 pages longer than the first one, but it has just been awesome to read through that and be like, dude, I actually know what they're saying. I actually understand it now. So I'm loving it, and hopefully I don't scream too much and terrify my children when the games come on. So,
dude, Carly's
they'll get used to it. Look at Jacob and Tim; they got used to it, right? I'm sure that's what happened to them too. It's so funny. You said it's like learning a different language, and with my accent, trying to explain some of this stuff, it's probably like learning 3 languages along the way. But it is what it is. We appreciate you calling in, and listen, don't be a stranger. Call in all year. We're looking forward to talking to you. And like I said, keep me updated on that fantasy football. If you need some kind of, I'm not a big fantasy football person, but I will invest the resources to get you everything you need to smoke those guys. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it because they were not as so forthcoming in the beginning when I was asking questions. But then I learned the ropes. I learned that not a lot goes on in the chat until the draft actually happens.
Carly was like, "Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Like, who should I start here? Who should I do this?" And I had to DM her and be like, "Carly, everything. You're awesome, but guys don't talk strategy, and it's all we hate each other, and it's going to be we hate each other, and nobody's going to give you a tip, and if they give you a tip, it's because they're trying to fool you." And she was like, "I got it." She's like, "I got it."
Yeah. Came in looking for tips, and the guys were like, "Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen." Carla, we appreciate you calling in. It's so good to talk to you.
Yeah, you guys have a good one. Thanks.
You too.
Thank you, Carly.
Bye.
That was Carly. I guess on the Wisconsin-Minnesota border. Am I thinking right there, Jacob? Somewhere around that area. So that's good stuff, man. Good stuff. It's so cool getting connected to people. It's awesome. We get the best fan base in the world. Let's see here. Let's get back to the chat real quick. Then we'll pull up the defensive PFF grades if that's cool with you guys. Garrison says the top preseason snap leader for offense and defense were Rasheed Walker and Carrington Valentine. Who do you think gets more playing time this year? Man, that's a great question. I'll tell you what, Tim, I put on that tape today and broke it down. Actually, late last night, I was in here putting that video together or putting the content together to do the live stream today. I was up to like 1:30. And every time I seen Carrington Valentine in on a play, it's like, this dude does not play like a freaking rookie. And I love what Rasheed Walker's done. He's got a ton of momentum, and he's proven that he can be kind of a quality backup offensive lineman. And who knows, he may develop into a starting quality offensive lineman if Bach doesn't restructure and come back next year. But with Carrington Valentine, man, that would be my pick. I think you're going to see him. I think you're going to see him get more playing time this year. I think Carrington Valentine's going to work himself in it. And like Andy Herman pointed out on Twitter, Tim, Carrington, it snuck by me. He played a few snaps in the slot too.
Yep. And I would agree. First and foremost, I think to answer Garrison's question there is, I think Valentine's going to get way more snaps this year, especially with the question marks surrounding Stokes and, who we're going to have on the boundary, who are we going to have in the slot? Great point. I believe it was, did he get like three or four reps in the slot yesterday?
I'm not sure the exact amount. Maybe PFF has those. I'll try to look them up here real quick.
It was a small smattering.
I just seen that with Andy Herman. I was like, holy cow. So they did put him in a slot. That tells you a lot about the player, right?
Yeah. And he didn't look like he was, falling over himself or, out of place. He looked at least serviceable in the slot, which again, to your point, Clayton, for a rookie is pretty damn impressive to be moved around like that. But, I think with Carrington Valentine, what you're seeing is sheer natural athleticism combined with great instinct for football. He's clearly, I don't know if I want to put the ball hawk label on him quite yet, but he does have some of those traits, man. He seems to always be around the ball,
So
and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it reminds me of a guy who used to play in Green Bay a few years ago that we knew as a ball hawk all over the secondary in Charles Woodson. So to see Valentine just playing this well. But again, like you said, Clayton, before, it's so early, man. We got to see this translate week in, week out during the regular season, to really, really get a gauge. But certainly the ceiling is very high for this guy.
Yeah, what separates the above average players to the good players and the good players to the great players is that consistency week in and week out, putting it together and not getting down, not letting it affect you when you do have a down week. As far as Carrington Valentine, 110 total snaps this preseason. He had 4 in the box and 9 in the slot. So basically those box defender ones might as well be slot as well. It means they were probably playing zone and he was playing right inside the box. So to the best of my knowledge, 13 snaps in that kind of that nickel back position. So, and the fact that his grade didn't take a huge hit, I don't believe. Let me click on him real quick and see. 79. Yeah, against Seattle, 70. That was his best game, 79.0. Or no, his second best. I'm sorry. He had an 89.8 in the first one. He had a step back at 54 against New England, and then of course against Seattle, he had a 79.0. So I don't know. I like the kid. I think he's going to have a great year. I think he's going to prove to be very, very valuable for this team as well. Go ahead, Jacob. You got anything?
I mean, I don't want to change topics or anything like that. I was still talking about the defense here, but looking at Carrington Valentine and how maybe he played, obviously we thought that he'd be a starter, but if you look up at the top of the PFF grades for defense, you start looking at some guys that were like, oh man, that's kind of interesting. Like, how are they going to maybe what does this grade do for them and their chances of making the team? For Mr. Marvin Pierre, which was a 90.3 grade, the guy that we just signed, it's like, oh, yeah. Dude. But he I believe only had like 3 snaps. So, that's to be expected there. Tyrell Ford, 89.3. I don't really honestly even understand what he does for us. I don't remember seeing him there, but what really gets me excited, and I know you guys probably know this, is Brenton Cox Jr.
Sure not.
6.0 overall defensive grade. Now, I will admit he had a 28.5 tackling grade. That's bad, guys. He had 84.4 pass rush grade. And if you remember that play when Benny Sapp Jr. got to intercept that ball, that was 100% because of Brenton Cox Jr. And if you watch back the game, I watched back, like I said, 2 or 3 times, just the cut-to-cut play. Brenton Cox Jr. was in the backfield from basically mid-second quarter till the end of the game. And they had him out there the whole time. You watch, 57 was in on almost every single play in one way or another. And I really do think that he is going to find a way to be on this team. Followed by him, Lucas Van Ness, 83.8 grade, guys. That's pretty freaking exciting to see. And you saw it on film. I don't know if you highlighted it today, Clayton. I didn't get a chance to see, but he had one of those where he didn't lose edge control and he cut it inside. He forced a running back to move outside, and then they got sealed up. He did another one where he went a little bit outside contain, forced the running back to move inside. He got bottled up. He did one where he did a spin move, had a lot of outside leverage, was able to get a clear path to the quarterback if he had not thrown it away at the exact, like, he looked good. He looked really, really good, and he looked confident. And I'm just excited, man. It's again, Eric Wilson after that, Keyshawn Banks, Corey Ballantyne, Quay Walker, guys that you don't quite know who they are, but it's week 3 of the preseason, the final week of the preseason, so that's to be expected that these guys. But after that, it's Quay Walker, Kingsley Enagbare, Carrington, TJ Slayton, Kenny Clark, Jonathan Ford. It's just so freaking exciting, man. I think for once we saw that our front 7, they're a force to be dealt with. And if you guys aren't willing to block those dudes, we got some freaks coming at you. And this is before Sean Gary.
Think about the secondary too. Like that's what's crazy is like you think of the front, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we've got Jair Alexander, we got Rasul Douglas, right? We don't know what Keyshawn's going to do. Quay Walker has been picked by everybody to really have a standout. Like this defense has an opportunity. I think all the love, all the shine that they got last year, I think it was just 1 year too soon. I think this is the year that everything kind of pops and comes together. I really believe that. And Mike Berry in the chat, I'm sure Carly's still listening. He said, Carly, play your running backs 65% of the time.
65%.
65%. That's what that is the advice you take to the bank right there. We had a question here by Cheesehead Murph. I'm excited to hear Tim's take on this. He said, who is the surprise cut come Tuesday? Right. And there's always one, guys. There's always one. Now, understand, you think Torrey, wow. It's funny, I was going wide receiver too. You know, the question, who is the surprise cut come Tuesday, right? It's got to be a surprise. It can't be, oh, well, they're kind of on the one that would surprise the heck out of me would be Malik Heath. Like, I really feel like he's made this roster, and it would be such a Green Bay Packers thing that he has just this awesome camp. He flashes in preseason. Oh, by the way, we're not even going to put him on the practice squad. He just gets cut, right? It seems like every year something like that happens. But, Tim, what do you think, man? Who is your surprise cut come Tuesday?
Well, you just took both of mine. Damn.
Just say Brenton Cox Jr. and let's watch.
No, I'm not. No, la, 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 la. Not going to say that. I'm with Jacob. He be, I think, another guy. We talked about Jadakiss Bonds surging as of late. Brenton Cox Jr.'s had a solid camp and followed by a late surge. I think he would be a practice squad lock. Hopefully. I mean, I don't even want to think about him being cut because the thing we talked about all the snaps that he had, especially yesterday. And it's like, the guy didn't look tired, man. Like, the guy looked like a machine. Like, he wanted more. Like, he was almost sad that the game was over. He wanted to keep playing. So yeah, man. Toure would be a great pick there, Jacob, as a shocker, because that would be a guy that last year we saw a lot of potential in, and played pretty well for us. This year, we still see kind of the same as last year. We see the potential. We see the flashes. They were a heavy dose sprinkling him into the return game, trying to get him onto the field. That sometimes can be a bad sign. Right. Now, it's not always a good sign towards the end of camp. If they're peppering you everywhere, maybe it means you're on the bubble, and they're really trying to see, what you can contribute. So I think those are both good picks there for shockers, for sure. Those two.
Got it. The angry casual fan, Jacob, says, I'm in panic mode with Christian Watson. And he goes on to say, Watson has butterfingers and nobody is talking about it. How do you feel about that? You think Watson's got butterfingers? I know a lot of people said that was a drop on that deep pass. I personally think it was well underthrown. Am I giving him too much credit here?
I will say that the truth lies somewhere in between, much like it always does. I share your hesitance and your I guess you're worried that the fact that maybe we're putting the crown on this guy before he has earned it. He had obviously the first major drop he had was last year against the Vikings when it was a clear and obvious first play of the game. Imagine, I always talk about this, and trust me, I was much like Jordan Love. I was a Christian Watson fanatic before we drafted him. If you look at the draft stream that we did, I was the guy that was saying, please, please, please. When we got Christian Watson, I lost my I lost it. Mm-hmm. But I understood that with that, I took a big giant grain of salt because of the fact that his number one issue was he had random drops, and it wasn't like skillful drops. It was just like loss of mind drops. And we've seen that. And we've also unfortunately seen drops from Musgrave, from Reed, from Dobbs. So I will say that the one thing that I am more worried about going into this year is that we do not have guys like Devontae, like, even go back to guys of old where it was just, if you threw it to him and it was within reach, you knew that they were going to catch it. And that was just it was a guarantee. Right now we have guys where if you throw it to them, I think they're going to catch it 75% of the time. 75% is not going to make us into a playoff / Super Bowl team. It might get us 10 wins, but I think that if we want to take a step, then our wide receivers have to man up and become sticky-fingered dudes. So
I'm so glad you mentioned Devontae Adams, Jacob, because this is where my head goes. And I'm quoting myself, because when Devontae Adams was in year 1 and 2, I was saying the same thing about him. The inconsistent hands, drops, right. And now what are we saying about Devontae Adams? So all I'm going to say is I agree 100% with your statement, Jacob. The truth lies in the middle, and time is going to tell the tale when it comes to Scoot catching these balls. So strap in, boys. It's going to be a hell of a ride this year.
Definitely. If I'm looking at the PFF grades correctly, sometimes they get jumbled up. Sorted by receiving grade on the Packers, Christian Watson is 15th this preseason with a 56.1, but his drop grade, he is 6th with a 70.5. So, yeah, I mean, I can see it, Angry. It's not like a crazy hot take you got there. He has struggled to catch the ball, according to PFF. And, again, like someone else said in the chat there, did you see the touchdown? That was a nice catch. It was, granted, it wasn't like a crazy difficult catch, but I think you'll be fine. We just got to continue to work on it. The main thing is Romeo Dobbs being healthy, man. That's what we've really got to key in on. Let's go to the phones here. We've got our boy Dakota in Tennessee. Dakota, how you doing, bub?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just had to give my 6-year-old a lesson in humility, but we're good.
Uh-oh. Is that something we want to talk about on the air, or are we just going to move on to the next topic?
No, it's actually funny. Unfortunately, he got something from me. When I was younger, I was a sore loser, and he thought he could challenge his stepmom in a race, and she used to run track. And he's 6, so he got real mad, said she cheated, and then it was a whole thing.
He said he cheated? Is that what you said?
He said she cheated.
Spur of cheating. Yeah.
Yeah, my son, said that.
All right.
I think she was using performance-enhancing drugs, but we're not sure.
It had to be. That's just it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, he not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
What do you want to talk about, Dakota? What's on your mind, man? We're roughly 24 hours removed, I guess, from the ball game, more than 24 hours removed. How you feeling about this cut down? And somebody asked earlier in the chat, if you want to try to answer it, it's totally cool. Do you have a surprise cut on Tuesday?
Oh, a surprise cut. That I was not ready for. I think, because I'm not going to go like Malik Heath is my surprise. No, I think other than the fact that I think they're keeping him, I don't think. Let's see. No, I can't think of one. Not a surprise cut.
Okay, gotcha. What do you? It's funny. Jacob mentioned Torrey, and now we got Steven in the chat too. He says surprise cut Torrey. Man, I tell you, it's amazing how the receiving room goes from, man, this is inexperienced, and it's a bottom receiving core, and all of a sudden we're going, how the hell are we going to cut? Who are we going to decide to cut? Seems like they've come on pretty strong, and like Angry says in the chat, Angry Casual Fan says Heath makes me relax. That's a fact. What do you want to talk about, Dakota? What's on your mind, bub?
I know I came in here when y'all were talking about Christian Watson and his Butterfingers, and I know y'all mentioned Devontae Adams, which is something I had brought up on Twitter, not comparing them, but comparing the stories kind of. But also it's just kind of difficult to connect with that deep receiver. I mean, Rodgers had that issue with MVS, and for a while I blamed him completely. But
Right.
you know, later on, I learned a little bit more, and some of it was, well, a portion of it was miscommunication. Others was, sometimes he wasn't in the spot he was supposed to be. So like getting from what I've been looking into it, uh, getting that connection with the deep receiver is kind of one of the hardest connections to make because there's so much room for error.
Got it. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean that's what's kind of weird is like Christian Watson for whatever reason I don't know if he's so fast because that was, remember what Rodgers' thing was, like, oh, he can't time him, he just doesn't know how to throw the ball to him, he's too fast or whatever, blah blah. And it was the same thing they said about MVS. Remember, they like, oh, they can't get the timing right. He's just so fast that he doesn't know how to throw the ball to him, and it's like I feel like that's not an excuse. I don't think that's a real thing, but I don't know, man. One thing I will say though, John in the chat says that surprise cut Royce Newman. I don't know if that's a surprise cut as much as it'd be a logical cut, if that makes sense to you guys, where it's like you see the writing on the wall. It'd be a surprise in the fact that, Goody and the Packers organization does not want to cut ties to anyone because they've spent a draft pick on, unless they have an absolute necessity to do so. So I would think that would be a good one.
Did Newman pop up on the injury report? Because I know he took a shot. I don't want to say third quarter or something.
I thought he came back in and that he ended up playing the rest of the game, but I'm not.
Okay, that's good.
Gotcha. Hey, I want to give a shout out real quick to the newest member of the PTA Posse, a YouTube member, Tom Spalding, and of course Garrett Stritzel from the last show. Both joined the PTA Posse, so they put themselves in the drawing for that autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. We're excited to give that thing away week 1 during the post-game show. Dakota, what else you got, bub?
Oh, I didn't have much for today. I do know that I know I had, if you would have asked me about a week or so ago, Toure would have been a surprise cut for me, but that's one of those where I wouldn't be surprised if he was cut. I wouldn't be surprised if he was kept. Like if it was 5 receivers, it wouldn't surprise me much if they kept, Wicks on the 53 over Toure and put him on the practice squad. And speaking of the practice squad, I feel like there's so many players that people say they want on the 53 that they actually want on the practice squad. It's just a little weirder this year because we don't have a lot of these, people that have been here for, I don't know, a decade, which is just a lot of folks that have been here forever on the team. We have a lot of newer blood. So it's more of an up in the air type of thing. But I want to be just as excited about our practice squad as I am our 53 just about.
Yeah. It's always fun to kind of see those guys get their chance and just, continue to battle, try to work their way onto the roster for sure. It's going to be fun, man. Tuesday's coming like a freight train, Dakota. We appreciate you calling in, bub. I know Tuesday's going to be a wild show because that's got to be the cut downs at 4:00. So if you're free that night, definitely call in. We'll get you take on the final 53 there and see how this thing shakes out. It still amazes me they have to go from 90 players to 53. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, and Matt LaFleur today, he went up on the podium just a couple hours before we went live today. And the first question, it was so funny. He walks out and Matt LaFleur, I like that he's getting a little more confidence in him. He walks out and he goes, all right, guys, I know what you're going to ask me. You're going to ask me about roster questions. Let me just stop you right here and tell you, just like, we can wrap this up right now and I can go home, or you can keep asking dumb questions. And blah, 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 blah. And literally the first question, they go, all right, Matt, so I know you're talking about roster predictions. Is there any way you're going to talk about roster cut downs before? And he goes, no, not till Tuesday. Like, straight up literally said, I'm not going to talk about roster cuts. The first question's, what about the roster cuts? And then he just goes, no.
Gentlemen, it brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Dude, I can't hardly stand to listen to the pressers. I'm just being honest, man. There's one, too. I'm not going to mention his name. But the way he asks questions, it's literally –
oh, I know.
Matt, in the past here in Green Bay, there's been, a lot of turmoil really around specific positions. And you get late in the season and things just don't come together, and you have to say goodbye to coaches and players and then come back the next year and try to do it all over again. And it's it's just something that you get accustomed to, but you don't. And
I'm sorry, is there a question in there?
I'm just curious. How do you feel about your kicker? And I'm like, what the hell? What are you like? And literally, I swear, I think this guy's got an earpiece in, and he just likes to hear himself talk. I think that's all it is. And I'm like, this dude, Coach LaFleur, and this whole coaching staff, they are putting in, I mean, like 14-hour days, 15-hour days, right? They never leave the facility. They're sleeping on cots in the facility, right? They're like, and they've got to go up there and just listen to and the part that bothers me the most. It's not all of them. Here I'm on a damn rant. This is your fault, Dakota. I don't know how, but it's your fault. But and then they have to go up there and listen to these questions, and then those same people that stood in front of those coaches and tried to play kissy face and everything, and then wanted to hear themselves talk, will go on social media and just blast Mark Murphy, blast Matt LaFleur, and just talk as if like these idiots, they don't want to give us any information. They don't understand anything about it. It's like, bro, lower your freaking ego and think for a second. Let me put myself in his shoes, right? And understand what information he's trying to withhold, what he's trying to accomplish. And for God's sakes, just stop trying to badger people for answers that you know you're not going to get. We as fans, we don't want to hear it. We don't. And that's the part that bothers me is some of the media members, they could give two craps about what the fans actually want. It's their opportunity to get up there and shine and hear themselves talk. And it just drives me insane. It absolutely drives me insane. They're supposed to be our mouthpiece, right? They're supposed to be the person trying to get the information that we as fans want. And somehow they turn it into inside jokes and cutting up with each. And it's just like, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Anyway, Dakota, this is your fault. Like I said, anything else before we let you go, bro?
No, I will happily take the blame with that for that. I was happy to be a part of that. No, that was it. I'm good. I think that guy you were talking about, he has a wild last name, something like that. But
hey.
You sure about that?
But not.
You sure about that?
You got close, I'll tell you that. So
I am good. I just wanted to pop on for a second. But I'm just excited. Excited for cut downs. I'm excited for the next game. First game, September 10th.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I think it is the 10th.
Yep.
That's so far away.
I know. I
so
hate
far
that.
away.
That 2-week bye, man, they got to do something about it. It drives me insane. It drives me absolutely insane. But we'll go back and we'll watch some classic games. We'll fill the void for sure.
Absolutely.
So. All right, bro. We appreciate you, Dakota. It's always good to talk to you, buddy. You have a good night and try to stay cool. And I think the weather's going to cool off here in Tennessee a little bit. Of course, you being out toward Memphis, you guys got a lot worse than we do up here in the mountains. So.
Oh yeah, no, we're good today. We're good today.
Good deal, man. Well, have a good night, buddy, and appreciate you calling in.
All right, yes, sir. Y'all have a nice one.
All right. See you, man. That's Dakota in Tennessee. Let's do this real quick, guys. We're running out of time. We're at the 47-minute mark. I want to hit on these PFF grades a little bit more. I love it when people call in, though. Defensive grades, let's run through them real quick. Marvin Pierre, 90.3. Terrell Ford, 89.3. Brenton Cox Jr., like Jacob was saying, 86.0. This one got me excited. Lucas Van Ness, 83.8. You guys seen on Chalk Talk. He popped off the screen to me. I thought he had great run defense reps. I thought he did good on the punch, pull, and swim off the tight end there to kind of force that quarterback to get the ball out a little bit earlier than he wanted to. I think his game is starting to come along. Eric Wilson, 83.2, just steady Eddie. Keyshawn Banks, 82.7. That's a guy right there. I wouldn't be surprised if he made the roster. I don't think he is going to, but if he does, I think he's earned it. Corey Ballantyne, 82.2. He showed up. Benny Sapp III with an 81.1. Of course, had the game-sealing interception. And Quay Walker, Tim, my man is steady, dude. Steady Eddie. He's in the upper 70s every single week with a 79.7. Carrington Valentine, 79.0. TJ Slayton, I said earlier in the Packernet After Dark chat on Discord, I said, don't be surprised if TJ Slayton comes out with a solid grade, man. I watched the tape, and he was hands down the quickest off the ball. Only one snap I seen another defensive lineman was quicker than him off the ball, and it was Kenny Clark absolutely annihilating a guard. But his first step, TJ Slayton, is really getting that timing down, timing the snap there, playing nose. Kenny Clark, 76.2. Jonathan Ford, 75.1. Shamar Jean-Charles, 72.1. Keandre Thomas, 67.3. Darnell Savage, 65.6. Jonathan Owens, 65.2. Keyshawn Nixon, 65.1. Keyshawn Nixon has struggled this camp, guys. There's no two ways about it playing that slot. I'm almost to the point like, hey, let's just throw the rookie out there. Put Carrington Valentine in the slot and let's roll with it. Isaiah McDuffie, 64.8. That kind of surprised me, but He did have the penalty, which really cost you on those grades. That probably that, like Tim pointed out, grabbing it should have been a hold. I think they called pass interference. Nonetheless, that probably dropped his grade significantly. Aaron Mosby, 63.4, and then Rudy Ford with a 62.6. Not a good start there. What stands out to you, Tim, with those defensive grades, bud?
Corey Ballantyne.
Yeah.
What was his snap count? No, his
82.
snap count.
Snap count.
Snap count. Let me pull that up real quick. Or do you guys?
Because that skews the numbers, right? I mean, Marvin Pierre's got the highest grade, and he played 3 snaps.
Yeah, I got you right here. Let me
20.
Let me go get his snap count real quick.
I believe. No, I'm sorry, 17.
17. Okay.
Yeah,
that's a good dose.
Yeah.
That stands out, and Lucas Van Ness, man, because he played a ton of snaps too.
He only had 12. But
12. Okay, I thought he played more.
They were pretty good.
Okay, yeah, I'd say Corey Ballantyne stood out. I think what's really nice about this whole camp is that we certainly know the difference between Carrington Valentine and Corey Ballantyne now. Like due to the way both of these guys played this training camp, so that's good. But no, yeah, Ballantyne 82.2 stood out to me for sure. Other than Brenton Cox Jr., of course, who I'm co-signing with Jacob in perpetuity.
I don't know what that word means, but it sounds important.
I'm looking at what Tim just said here. So as I'm looking at snap counts, just because that's a good indication as to whether or not, like we talked about, either snap counts, a lot of them at the last preseason game could either mean they want to see what you have, meaning we might cut you, or we want to see what you have because we think you're really great. And depending on how they perform in that situation, it's probably going to depend on whether or not they're cut. I would argue that Brenton Cox Jr. did a very, very good role in the 29 total snaps that he had. There was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was only 5 different players that had over the amount of snaps that he did in this game. So again, you could read that as one of two ways. You could read it as that they're trying to give him every single snap because they're not sure, or they want to give him a lot of snaps because they are sure and they just want to be sure that they're not mistaken. In my opinion, what he put on film and what he did statistically was worthy. I think that I would keep him. If you had to put a gun to my head, and if you take Justin Hollins off the team and put Brenton Cox on, I would totally make that deal, 100%. Just and contract wise, like why was not?
It's like the old John Madden clips, where was it Frank Caliendo was putting together an all-time roster, and it was just literally Brett Favre all the way down the line. That's Jacob's all-time roster. Anybody else that's not named Brenton Cox Jr.
Roadhouse.
All right. Harlanga's 10 in the chat says, before you end this, you got to tell us how to join the posse. All right. It's real simple, man. If you're mobile, I don't know if you're on your computer or mobile, but if you click on the Packers Total Access homepage for YouTube, it'll show our live stream right now. If you scroll down just a little bit, and if we're not live, it'll be at the top. It'll say our members, and it'll have a little join tab. You click that, and the cheapest one there is $2.99 a month, and that's how you join the PTA posse. And again, I didn't even know that existed. Once the YouTube channel got monetized, it's like, okay, I need to come up with something for members. So what we're doing is some giveaways, and just to kind of, people are already supporting the stream. So we thought, okay, let's throw this stuff together. So we're giving away an autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey there week 1 during the post-game show. For second place of the drawing, Jacob's got a patch of an Aaron Rodgers jersey, right, that he's going to be giving away.
Belt jersey with a certificate of authenticity there. Yeah,
absolutely. And we've already got other giveaways. We've got other giveaways teed up as well. That, again, this wasn't planned, but when people started joining to support the stream, we greatly appreciate it. And I thought, let's come up with ways to kind of give back, because it does help. It helps more than you guys know. So that's how you do it, man. Let's do this. Special teams real quick. We're at the 54-minute mark. Some people are going, what the hell are we talking about special teams? It's important. It's very important. So let me get that comment off real quick. I apologize. When you look at special teams from last week, or this past yesterday's game, Dallin Levitt, 75.6, leading the way. Eric Wilson, 67.3. Kingsley Enagbare, 65.4. Matt Orzick, 63.6. Brenton Cox Jr., In fifth place there to 63.0. Broughton Hatcher, 62.2. Keyshawn Banks, 61.9. Jonathan Owens, 61.8. Austin Allen, 61.5. Josiah DeGuara, 61.4. So the big thing that stands out to me right there, guys, Dallin Levitt's going to be on this roster again. I don't think it's going to surprise anybody, but that's definitely the one that sticks out to me. What did you think about special teams? Brenton Cox Jr., I think he probably did enough to make the roster, Jake. I really do, man. I know we joke about it a lot, but it seems like he's going to be on this roster.
Yeah, I do too. And I really hope that that Dallin Levitt, man, I don't know where, like, what positional grouping do you take away to make sure that he gets on the roster? And it's like, I got made fun of with Paul because I said I don't think that we're going to actually go in with 8 offensive linemen, but we could, because we have such like players that can play at any given position and any sort of but we could go in with, like I said, 2 running backs. I'd be very surprised if we do more than 3 or more than 2. Wide receivers, I think we're going to keep 6. Tight ends, if we only have 2 and we have Josiah DeGuara as our only fullback, there's a lot of leeway here to make some like Green Bay is going to be notable. They always have that 1 or 2 signings where you're like, wow, I did not see that. I did not even expect that. I did not have that on my bingo card. I'm trying to gauge myself. And now what you said, Clayton, that kind of makes sense. It's like Dallin Levitt that keep like 6 safeties. I don't know, maybe 5 edges. I really don't want them. If they keep Dallin Levitt and Brenton Cox Jr. doesn't make this team, you guys are going to see a Jacob-sized hole through the wall over there, because I'm just going to lose my mind.
Definitely. Larry in the chat says so much new talent on both sides of the ball should make things exciting in one way or another. Roller coaster. Anything stand out to you, Tim, with the special teams before we go to team grades and then get out of here?
Yeah, I saw another comment there. Our safeties stink. Yeah. We're trying to cover that up with awesome defensive line play and great middle linebacking and cornerback play, and we'll just kind of ignore the gaping hole in the back end of our defense, I guess. But maybe just maybe we keep one less safety to keep Dallin Levitt on this team, and we just make him play safety if we need him to. Like that. I would rather almost do that and take that approach than to keep, or to cut other position groups to keep, like you said, 6 safeties. My God, I don't know. I don't want to do that. I think we'd be good with 4, maybe 5. And we just say, hey, if somebody goes down, Levitt's got to play safety.
Yeah, it's I'm not going to be surprised if we have a loaded safety room and it's like, oh my goodness. The accidental hero. I don't know how you became the hero accidentally, but we're glad that you accidentally did that. Other than the D line upgrades, how has the run defense improved? Here's the thing. If we're playing more man coverage this year, that does not bode well for run defense either. That's another reason why I'm like, man, keep implementing this quarter's coverage, right? You still play man. We still played cover 1 man a lot last year. But these people that just want them to, put Jair on the best receiver and play man across the board, man, you get guys' backs turning to the ball, that run defense is going to get ugly. But to answer your question, a healthy Devondre Campbell this year, and if he is healthy, of course, and then Quay Walker kind of stepping into that role a little bit more, having a full year under his belt and another full camp, I think would play a big role in that. Now, as far as the safeties, you would think Jonathan Owens would be a better tackler than the safeties we had last year, because that's what his specialty is. We'll see. We'll see if it turns out or not. So, all right. One last thing here, guys. Let me get that off the screen. And the last PFF grade I want to show, this is for the entire preseason. I did the top 10 teams in the preseason. The Las Vegas Raiders, this was before their final game, I'm guessing, 83.9 overall. And then in second place, the Green Bay Packers with a 2-1 record, 83.2. Their offensive grade was a 76.9, passing grade 76.6, pass blocking 87.7 elite, receiving grade 70.3. Guys, that's a big improvement from last year. And I know it's preseason, I got it, but that's trending in the right direction. Let's see, running grade 84.1, just like last year, solid with these running backs. Run blocking, just like last year, low 61.3. Defensive grade 80.2. Run defense, 70.3. Hey, we'll take it. Last year, they were consistently in the 50s. And with the tackling grade as well, which the tackling grade this preseason was 64.0. Pass rush grade, 69.4. When Bain gets back on the field, you're going to see that spike tremendously. Coverage grade, 81.6. And Tim, I don't know what the hell's going on, but special teams is a 46.2. I'd like to brush over that and not even mention it ever again. But what do you guys think? Tim, you go first. What do you think about those team grades there, man?
Well, you know how preseason can be, man. You know, a lot of times you can play great in the preseason and then your regular season's a dumpster fire. So I take all of this with a grain of salt. It is good to see us up there with, you know, teams like Kansas City and, you know, Buffalo. I mean, there's good teams in this list here. So, you know, for this preseason to end how it has, and to see what we've seen, I feel better than worse. You know, like there's a lot to be happy about with this team, and we have hope going into this season. And it's so crazy because we talked about how the mainstream narrative is shifting already because they wanted so badly for us to be down in the dumps and what are we going to do without 12? And this team has got so many young players and there's so many question marks. And what do we see? We see these guys playing together. And we see them playing hard, we see them improving, and we see this team literally forming before our eyes. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel good about where we are. So, you know, that's the standout overall. 2-1 into preseason, you know, that's a good feeling going into your, you know, your preseason bye here before the show really kicks off in Chicago. So I think it's good for morale for the team for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. Jacob?
Yeah, man. John, I have not kicked the field goal longer than I think 20 yards, but I'm going to give it my best shot. But I will say what I wanted to highlight out of the PFF grades, out of just the whole performance, guys, it's 1 through 12. So John Runyon Jr., Elton Jenkins, Sean Ryan, Royce Newman, Zach Toms, Rasheed Walker, James MP, Josh Myers, Josh Nyman, Kadeem Telfort, Emmanuel Wilson, and A.J. Dillon. Out of 1 through 12, the lowest grade of pass blocking is in that 12 slot for A.J. Dillon at a 75.7. The highest is John Runyon Jr. at 85.3. It goes 85.3, 84, 83.8, 83.8, 83. You get the gist. We have a massive amount. We have almost 14 players that are in what you would call really, really good territory. We might have the best pass blocking offensive line in all of football, and not just the line. We're talking tight ends, running backs included. That's a massive, massive benefit for Jordan Love. One of the reasons, well, if he does succeed to the point where he has a massive ceiling, like we've talked about, is because he has time in the pocket, because he doesn't have to run unless he wants to run. And we've seen what he can do with his legs. The guy is way, way underrated for his running ability. And I think, again, through a fantasy football aspect, draft this dude. Him, Musgrave, Watson, Dobbs, they are falling. And these guys could be a top 10 offense, if not top 5. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we've got 2 new members. We've got True Brew Steve, member of the PTA Posse. Welcome to the crew, man. And we've got Doug, a new member. Appreciate you guys supporting the stream. We'll make sure we get your names into that drawing. And again, we're going to do that on week 1 post-game show immediately following the Packers-Bears game. We're going to spin the wheel. Everybody who are current members of the YouTube channel and the PTA Posse, we're going to put your name on that wheel, spin that thing live on the air, and give that autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey away. It's actually this exact jersey right here. Okay, it's just I've got 2 of them. The other one is completely packaged up still from pristineauctions.com. It actually comes with a certificate of authenticity, all that good stuff. So it's a nice piece of memorabilia for sure. It's the Beckett style jersey. So, all right, let's get ready to get out of here. Let's see here. Anything else in the chat we want to hit on? Let's give this one right here a shot. New member Doug says, getting a whole team, line, running backs, and wide receivers to pass block like that is a hell of a coaching job. Completely agree, and it's kind of what Ryan's talked about on his podcast, that they seem to be really keyed in on pass blocking. That's top priority on this team. And I think sometimes, I've mentioned this, when I watch the tape with the run blocking, it's not great, don't get me wrong, But I think when you run an outside zone blocking scheme like they do, I think it's probably a little bit more difficult for PFF to grade that as opposed to a gap scheme, running game. So I think a little bit of that comes into play as well. So, and Cheesehead Murph says, welcome to the posse, good people. Cheesehead Murph and Eric Sutherland. Obviously, Eric, it's so good to see you in here, buddy. Glad everything's going better. Getting that mess cleaned up and all that stuff with the weather. I believe it was weather, if I remember correctly, reading the comment. But Eric Sutherland and Cheesehead Murph are actually they're on the Mount Rushmore for the PTA posse, man. They were the very first two members to the YouTube group. So we really appreciate you guys supporting from the get-go. All right, let's get out of here. Parting thoughts. Tim, you got anything, bub?
Yeah, just real quick to touch on what we just talked about there. Pass protection by committee. That's what we're seeing here. And we're seeing an entire offense that's rallying around basically saying nobody's touching our quarterback. It's not going to happen. We saw several plays yesterday. Well, not several, but a couple where Jay Love had 45 minutes to throw the ball in that pocket. And it wasn't there. Guys, you can't, sometimes you don't get open, or sometimes you get too open and you're off in no man's land. And there was nowhere to go with the football. And instead of going to the sidelines and chucking it out of bounds, he tucked it and he made it happen with his feet. To your point, Jacob, when he wants to or when he absolutely has to, he can run. So that's refreshing, man. That's my parting thoughts. Pass protection by committee this year in Titletown. So go Pack, go.
Got it. Jacob, any parting thoughts?
Well, yeah, I just had some notes again from the LaFleur conference that I can breeze through real quick. He said no 53 definitions until Tuesday, probably most likely. Stokes on pup. He says he can't say for sure. Jair has said that he has actively been trying to get into Jordan Love's head. He said him and Rasul have been trying to get really chippy, very, very aggressive, and they've said that they have nothing to show for it. They have no cracks in his armor. That to me makes it's just really great to see. Matt LaFleur was asked that by a reporter on stage, and he goes, "Man, I didn't know that was actually happening." He goes, "But now that you said it, like I can kind of understand that." And then Benny Sapp, guys, his reaction to the big play, his interview. Okay. He just seems like a Packer, and I would be.
Did you see that cat? Damn, did you see him jump up there?
Yeah, he not only rambled, but he rumbled and stumbled.
I love it. This show sucks so bad. I love it, dude.
Benny, I would be surprised. I would not be surprised if Benny Sapp is a random weird, like if he makes it on. I saw his interview. The guy just seems ridiculously humble, ridiculously like grateful, and he seems just like a Packer through and through. And he seems like he has a little bit of that dog in him. So that being said, also Matt LaFleur talked about how this time of year is not it's his least favorite time of year, but at the same time, it's his most favorite because he has 53 guys that he's trying to mold into like a wonderful team that are going to spend the next, half year together growing and fighting and doing all this kind of stuff. And at the same time, he's got 30 guys that he's grown to be. Can you get out of here, please? Get.
I love it. Look.
It's stuck. I don't know. What the hell is this? I don't know what to do.
This is why Clayton's a dog person.
I have a pit bull. You should have eaten this. I don't know why I got it. But he said it's that time of year that they can't cut guys, and when they do, it's like they're cutting their family members. And that's just really it hit me. I remember last year I was like these 7th round draft pick kind of people. Are you freaking serious, dude? Are you serious? Right.
Oh no! We suck again.
Then he talks about Jones pad level. Anyways, it's over. He hates Josiah DeGuara because that's a Josiah DeGuara signed jersey there.
Oh my god, I love it, dude. I absolutely love it.
Game issued now.
What's that, Tim? What'd you say, man?
It's a game issued DeGuara jersey now.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I love it. Man. All right, guys, we're out of here. I apologize. We suck. It's just, hey, it is what it is. This is what you get, man. Sorry. We're not changing it either. It's just the way it's going to be.
Colin Coward
everybody had
cats.
What's that?
Colin Coward wish he had cats in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Look, Richard in the chat says, save the cats. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here again. I want to give a special shout out to the new YouTube members of the PTA Posse. We got Tom Spalding, Garrett Stritzel, True Brew Steve and Doug. Appreciate you guys supporting the stream. We'll get your names into the hat for or on the wheel to spin there week 1 for that autographed Lucas Van Ness jersey. You guys are awesome. Thanks to everybody in the chat, man. I'll tell you what, you can have the worst day possible. You can fall asleep in a float and almost get killed in a lightning storm in your pool and hop in here and talk football with you guys, and you always brighten the day for sure. So thanks to everybody in here. Also want to give a special shout out and thanks to everyone listening on the pod, making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
Double tackle, take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, you drive down the first man to his inside. Pull back and tell him to take the first man outside the offensive tackle. No one goes. Go right by them and field inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.